Good afternoon. Welcome everybody to a conservative conversation. My name is Mark London.
And my name is Elmer Beard.
We have a special guest with us in the studio. His name is Ethan Dunbar. He is currently the mayor of Lewisville, Arkansas.
Well, thank you, Mr. London. I must say I'm just happy to be here among these two esteemed gentlemen.
Yeah, it's great having you.
I look forward to the conversation.
Yeah. So here we are. We thought we might get into some of the interesting news, Ethan, that you have to share with us about your upcoming candidacy. Would you like to tell us about that?
Well, I do. I'm the current mayor of Lewisville. I'm into my second term, year 7, and I am going to seek the Democratic nomination for U.S. Senate here in Arkansas. So that's the announcement. I'm happy. I'm excited about that journey, and I'm thankful for all the people the Lord has placed in my life to help me along this journey. So
Very well.
Congratulations and welcome
thank you.
to our studio.
Thank you, Mr.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah, we're. This is very exciting for us, and you have anything you wanted to comment on, Elmer, about?
Yes, I am familiar with Lewisville, Arkansas. I believe that's in Lafayette County. I visited there several years ago, and I believe that with Ethan coming from that part of the state and that community, he has very much to offer regarding the great needs of that community, and I'm sure he'll tell us about it. I visited years ago with the Silas H. Hunt Community Development Corporation. I was president, and the CEO was Precious William at that time, and I found that it was a community that needed a lot of government assistance, and I'm sure that Ethan, as mayor, is going to share some of those needs with us at this time.
Would you say that the needs were deriving from the economic issues in the town and the
economic issues, jobs, public works, or community services like streets and water lines and sanitation service, which would involve a felt need from the community to demand that. So
yeah.
I recall those needs, and I know Ethan has been working on it since he's been mayor, and we look forward to the continuous progress that Ethan will share with us that he has made since he was mayor of that southern Arkansas city.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. So what do you say, Ethan? What would you like to talk about today as relevant to Lewisville?
Wow. I'm not sure where to start.
Mm-hmm.
You know, been in office 7 years, and my focus has been on the town infrastructure. We've got outdated infrastructure dating back to the 50s and 60s, our water lines, our sewer lines, even our communication lines. We still have landlines in town, so we focus more I focus more on infrastructure and housing. The last housing development built in our community was in 1972. So
wow.
if that gives you a reference, the needs are great, but Lafayette County is a rural county in southwest Arkansas, and it's not different from many other rural communities in the rural state. When factories close, jobs go away, we start to lose population. If we can't keep them there, then they leave and they go where the money is, their jobs are, or homes, or a better place to raise their families. So we suffered an economic decline over the last 25 years. So my first year or 2 in office just focused on stabilizing that decline and just bringing us to a point to say, let's stop the decline. Let's figure out how we can start inching our way forward again. So that's been the focus for the first. That's been the focus for my entire.
Yeah. Well, I think what I understand now is that you've had some success in encouraging other groups and perhaps some government funding to come in to help you to improve your water distribution and sewer system. And then there's another thing that I think is happening nearby, and that's the lithium mining project.
them, yes.
Yeah.
So we were able to secure a USDA loan, rural development loan, to improve our water distribution system. Now,
Mm-hmm.
let me say this: that wasn't from an initiative of the leadership then. That was a mandate from Arkansas Department of Environmental Quality, and they mandated that we do that because our system could not keep up, and we were in violation of several
Oh.
things. So we did do that, and you know, for me that was perfect, because when they said we needed to do it, it made it easier for us to say, you know what, that's not all we need to fix here.
Yeah.
And we were able to get a loan, and the downside is we had to raise water rates, and in a poor community with
Oh
a
boy.
lot of seniors on fixed income,
Mm-hmm.
that was hard, but we had to do it to be able to keep up.
Yeah.
The water rates hadn't been adjusted, I think about maybe 12, 14 years since before I went into office. So it was time, but anytime you talk about raising water rates to someone who's barely making ends meet now, they have a problem with it. But we did it, we adjusted to it, we improved our water distribution system, and we were able to get some of that money back from the bipartisan infrastructure law. So we took out a $4.1 million loan, we got $3.6 million back when we applied for relief under the bipartisan infrastructure loan under the last administration. So that was very
yeah.
helpful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So we're referencing the last administration. What is your assessment of the current administration's engagement in this same kind of level of reimbursement, if you will? Like, for example, you say you borrowed $4.1 million and you got $3.6 million of it back or credited against the loan. How did that work?
Well, I think that was a gift from the Lord. I think we won't see that again. Maybe if we do, it would be, you know, we have to go into a competitive cycle to apply for grants. And my community is much like, you know, one of the other 500 communities in the state, and we all compete for the same pot of money. So it kind of gets rotated somewhat like the street improvement plan, street funds for improving streets.
Mm-hmm.
They'll give you $300,000 to improve it, but you go into a cycle, and once people realize, okay, I can fix a portion of streets in my city without costing the taxpayers any money, it comes from the state through I think the gasoline tax, but everyone does it, and you can't. I can apply this year and I may get funded, but I can apply again every year, but I won't get funded again until every city has had the opportunity. So it may be 3 or 4 years later. So I've been in office 7 years, and I've gotten two street approvals, and I've been able to fix some streets in the city based on that. But
Yeah.
it helps, but it's not really enough.
Do you think that people who live in Lewisville, you know, for example, if they're having to pay additional funding, you know, additional fees for water, do they sort of point to you and say, Mr. Mayor, why did my water bill go up? Is it your fault? And do they assume that you're the responsible party?
Yeah, everything's my fault.
Yeah, the buck stops here.
Buck stops here, and, you know, and I take it all with an understanding heart that, you know, money's tight, jobs have gone away, you know, and we're on a fixed income.
Mm-hmm.
So I always try to put myself in that position before I respond, and that helps me to make a better, compassionate decision or response. So that's just the way I approach things.
One point I wanted to make, Mayor, it's difficult, I know from experience as an elected official, to explain to the public that when there is money available, you are not the only city in the state of Arkansas applying for that money. So the public usually doesn't understand that, and it's your responsibility to try to convey that message to them. And you have to kind of do it in small groups, because as you begin a project and a year later it's not finished, or 2 years later it's not finished, they'll question you as to why this job is taking so long, and it's a matter of funding, and you can't get that amount of money to finish a project always. during the same term. I've seen it with my experience
Yes.
here in Hot Springs, Arkansas.
And what you're saying, Ethan, is that the funding tends to rotate through the state. So, you know, they say, oh, this region gets it, and then I don't know, it's go around clockwise or something. How does it work?
It depends on who's in charge of your city and if they
Oh,
apply.
yeah.
And then, you know, once they apply for the street aid program, for example,
Yeah.
your name goes into a queue and they look at when is the last time you received street aid. And if there's someone who hasn't received it since you have the last time, they go ahead of you. So it kind of works like that for that program. But some of the other monies are competitive grants, and some of it are just downright loans that you got to pay back. And that presents the biggest problem for us.
So I'm curious about, you know, when you borrow money like that from the government, what kind of payback terms and rates, and do the people of Lewisville have that on a ballot? Is that something they have to vote for to approve borrowing the money?
Most of that is at the city council level. The city council has to approve it.
Okay.
But you know, when you borrow that kind of money, you got to pay it back, and you got to show or demonstrate, you know, that you can pay it back, and that's where.
Oh yeah.
You know, when you don't have a lot of revenue coming in, you don't have a lot of stores, and your tax base is shrinking. It's hard to find money because we still have to provide the daily services.
Yeah.
Trash pickup, you know, water distribution, water service, all of those things that you have to do as a city for somebody that pays taxes there.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's like robbing Peter to pay Paul.
What I'm hoping is that people watching this will kind of get a little better sense of, you know, maybe if they live in a place where the services are a little bit less desirable, they have some awareness, some understanding of why things take longer than they'd like them to, or that they feel it would be just to have done.
A reasonable person would think that, but when it's you, and you know, we get more people who they're drawn to the conflict and the controversy in the council, and they'll come out and support that. But if you have a public meeting saying, hey, we've got to raise water rates, they may come out, but they don't, and say, well, we didn't know about it, but my water bill is going up. And you know, it's like the information's there, but it doesn't until it affects you directly.
Yeah.
You know, then you pretty much like, well, I didn't know about it, I didn't hear about it. So.
Until that bill arrives in the mail and you go, oh
Right.
my gosh, that's a lot more than I paid last time. Well, how often do they pay? Once a month?
Yeah, it's monthly.
Yeah.
You know, we place ads in the local paper or at the post office or at, you know, the place most frequented.
Right.
But it doesn't mean they see it or care enough to even read it.
Yeah.
But when the decision is made, I mean, our attendance at city council, you know, we may average 4 or 5 citizens a month.
Yeah.
But back when we were, you know, there was an issue of controversy, we had a full house, 20, 25, 30 people, you know. And then once that issue passed, the attendance dropped back to, you know.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can explain it or what, but it's a challenge every day in a small rural community.
Tell us, Mayor Dunbar, how you think this experience as mayor will prepare you for public office on the state or national level. It's got to have some preparation for you.
That's a great question. Yeah.
That's an excellent question. The experience of running a small town in Arkansas, traveling to larger centers when I have meetings to go to Little Rock or to Arkadelphia or Hot Springs or Nashville, those larger population centers. Running a small town lets you know the challenges that everyday Arkansans face.
Excellent.
Yeah.
You don't have a public transportation, so if you don't have a car, you don't get around unless there's some agency there to help. Not very many in Arkansas. If you call an Uber in Arkansas, in Lewisville, then you'll probably still be waiting this time next year on that Uber.
Oh boy.
We just don't have that DoorDash, that type of delivery. We don't have the restaurants anyway. So those are the challenges that you deal with every day, and those are the challenges that a majority of Arkansans face. So being in the seat, here's the thing. If we could focus the entire power of a U.S. Senate seat on the needs of Arkansans, can you imagine? We could probably lift ourselves up past some of those those metrics that put us in the bottom of everything from education to whatever in the nation.
Mm-hmm.
We focus on the needs of Arkansans. So the constituents, they elect you to put you here, you should be listening to them. What do you need? How can we help you? What do you need to live a little bit better?
Mm-hmm.
Housing is a problem across the nation, but it's particularly a problem in Arkansas and rural Arkansas.
Mm-hmm.
So, focusing the power of the Senate seat, not on my personal ambition, but on what the needs of the people that elected me, what they need. If I focus that seat on there, we can improve Arkansas in all metrics, in all standards of measurement.
So how would you perceive that you would go about, for example, finding out what the people actually want and what they need, so you can propose legislation that would accrue to the benefit of Arkansas? It seems to me like there's a tremendous amount of natural resources in the state, as well as farming and other things that one of the things I guess I mentioned earlier was that lithium mining process. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, first of all, let me say we're a huge agricultural state. Farming is big in Arkansas,
Mm-hmm.
but there's other avenues.
Number one rice exporter, right?
Rice, and I think we're probably in the top 2 or 3 in poultry production.
Mm.
But it's huge in Arkansas. But there's so much more that especially as our technology advances. People can work from home now. People can do things, live in areas now that they wouldn't necessarily live in because they can make money in a lower cost of living area and still make the same money and live well and do their job through working from home, through the internet, through the technology. So that's one thing. But for us, we have a silver lining in lithium.
Oh yeah.
Southwest Arkansas sits on the Smackover Formation, and
Yes.
there's vast lithium deposits underneath there. And the extraction method or mining method is called direct lithium extraction, and it has the attention of ExxonMobil, of Standard Lithium, of Tetris, these companies who now see the future of renewable energy, and lithium is a critical component in that future. So mining that has the potential, if you were liken it to the oil boom of the 1900s, we see that same kind of energy coming with this lithium mining and creating jobs in factories. Exxon has invested $2.5 billion in building an extraction facility. Standard Lithium has invested $1.5 billion. Their headquarters is in Lewisville. Their local headquarters is
Now, what did you have to do with that?
Well, really not a whole lot, but
he inherited it probably.
Yes, we inherited, but what I've done is fight to make sure that we don't get taken advantage of. That when they come in to extract these earth minerals from our unit, we get compensated for it, but also we get the help that we need to survive and maybe improve some of the things that we need, like updating our sewer system, like a new sewer pond that can barely support what we have now, building new neighborhoods that if we do build 20 to 50 new homes, that we can improve our sewer pond and support a new development, that type of thing. Water, bulk water distribution to be able to sell to these companies as they build these factories. Job training and placement to help get jobs here.
Yeah.
But all those things that work together to help us improve our community overall for everyone and make it a place to.
I think, one question that comes to mind for me is, what are the environmental impacts of lithium mining, and how is it managed in a way that it doesn't create a residue of toxins and things that, we get from a lot of mining operations?
Yeah, that's been a question, and one of my concerns that I did ask the lithium representatives. Lewisville, we have water, and we pull water from a well, and that aquifer, how will that be affected in 10 years by what you're doing?
Very important question.
And they've assured me, and of course they're going to say this through their environmental scientists, the geologists and all, that the direct lithium extraction, the DLE method, they'll drill down 10,000 feet in an encased cylinder. They'll extract the brine up. They'll run it through whatever machines they do, extract the lithium from the brine, and then re-inject it back down 10,000 feet into that formation where it was chosen. Should have very little or minimal environmental effects, but I always think about the Exxon Valdez. They didn't expect all that water, that oil to get into.
Yeah.
You know, so things do happen.
I'm
guessing that's what we're concerned about.
Guessing a lot of our audience may be hopefully too young to remember the Exxon Valdez wreck up in Alaska. Yeah, but yeah, that was a giant oil tanker that ruptured and just completely poisoned the bay up there.
Yeah. So you don't expect those things to happen, but when they do, are you prepared, and how are you prepared to deal with it? And that's one of the things, if that casing breaks and something you're extracting or reinserting back gets into, you know, it starts to affect the ecosystems of our forest and our wildlife, then that's a problem, because we have very good hunting and fishing in Southwest Arkansas.
Yeah, it's a beautiful state.
I'm thinking about your board of directors as mayor of Lewisville. I'm wondering, are they aware of the resources and wealth in the city of Lewisville with all you explained, and what an advantage that is to Lewisville if you can get the funding to make the improvements in the infrastructure there that you need? Because I visited and I know some of the great needs there. So with this lithium that you're sharing with us and the history of it and the progress that can be made from it for your city, that should be an encouraging point to be made to the board of directors and for you as mayor of the city of Lewisville.
It is, and there are positive potential outcomes, but at the same time, you know, we had a problem when the royalty rate wasn't set. The Oil and Gas Commission, they were going through the back and forth of getting a royalty rate set, and people were panicked because they were thinking, okay, what's going to happen? Are we going to lose this opportunity? We're not going to get paid for our land, for our rights, and you know, things of that. So it kind of went mute for a while, but I think in May and June, the Oil and Gas Commission finally settled on a royalty rate agreeable to these lithium extraction companies. So now we're starting to see more involvement, more community agreement, what is the
engagement or
community development agreements? The
yeah.
name escapes me right now, but it's where those companies come and invest in the communities that they're going to extract from and live in. Community benefit agreement, CBA.
Community benefit agreement. Yeah, that sounds right.
So now we're starting to see more interest and more action in that area. And I think right now we're looking to have meetings to develop whatever that a community agreement is and what it would look like and how it would benefit the city. So we're working through that now. Yeah. But the residents are aware. Everyone's excited. If you own any land in Lafayette County in the last 2 years, you've been really excited because you think, hey, this is our big payoff.
Yeah, this could be an opportunity for some appreciation finally.
Yes.
And possibly even some new buildings and maybe
new businesses.
New businesses and improving the school environments perhaps for the
our
kids.
school district, yes.
I would think, Mayor, that with this hope that you have for the future, that the city of Louisville and in the county that's located has a history of being poverty stricken, that you can raise it up above many, many counties in the state of Arkansas. And to be a candidate for public office from that place, you have a story like none others. And it's something that we should give consideration to when we think of Arkansas being listed as among the poor states, and your city being listed as among the poor cities in the state of Arkansas. Here we have a chance to raise it up and put it on the map to the extent that people who have left it or people who have never been there will want to be drawn to that area. So I'm happy that you're giving consideration to a higher office. I have to mention this because I've never run for a higher office outside of the city of High Springs, but been in enough candidates to be some encouragement to you along the way. And I hope to offer any advice that I can do for you as mayor or any other office that you strive for in the future. I wanted to mention that to the public since I'm a retired elected official and this is new for you.
Yeah.
You got my support.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. It means a lot because, you know, when you enter into a race, you acquire a group of enemies just by putting your name on the ballot.
Oh, yes.
Just putting your name out there. So I have a different mindset. So I appreciate, you know, you and Mr. London even taking the time to talk with me and give me support and encouragement as we look, you know, to improve the life for every Arkansan.
So just maybe in closing, a little bit of a summarization of the background and the experience that you gained as the mayor of Lewisville, how that will translate into the senatorial office in Washington, D.C. Does it mean it gives you the fuel and the basis for recognizing and understanding the legislation that needs to happen to improve the conditions of our state and our people, to elevate folks from being in poverty to hopefully finding their way into that mythical middle class situation?
Well, I would say that I have been prepared, but one thing I do need to mention, since you talk about the mythical middle class, is the number of Alice households in Arkansas.
Did you say
Alice,
I don't know what that means?
asset limited, income constrained, but employed. Alice,
Okay.
One more time for us.
Yeah, real slow for that one.
asset limited, income constrained, employed. ALICE.
Now we
Alice.
have it.
Uh-huh.
And
Wow.
those are households in Arkansas that parents go to work every day,
Mm-hmm.
but they still struggle to make ends meet every month.
Yeah.
So those households need help. They need help in Medicare, Medicaid. They need help with
Yeah.
insurance things, medical coverage. Those are the kinds of things that we've got to focus on, because if you're not an Alice household, then this doesn't matter to you. You have the mind that everybody can get out and work and do what I do. And well, the data shows that households that do have maybe one or two parents, but they work every day, but they still need help to make it because the costs are high, inflation's high, just everything is higher now. So when we look at the Alice data, we have to look at these people are working every day and they're still struggling. How can we help? How can we make things better in one of the wealthiest nations this world has ever seen?
Which
Yeah.
prepares you to be a very good candidate for the office which you seek.
Yeah. From my perspective, you know, it seems as if it's more than obvious that a very tiny group of extraordinarily, historically wealthy people are calling the shots in Washington, and they haven't demonstrated a lot of capacity for compassion and, you know, offering to pay a 90% tax rate to improve the lives of the rest of the country, even though they can't exist without all of us being the workforce for them. So I'm grateful that someone who has some values like yourself and awareness and compassion is interested in seeking this higher office and representing the people at the bottom of the food chain, an opportunity to actually, hopefully, ultimately experience what we've always considered and called the American dream.
American dream, yes.
Can we get it? That's our challenge, I think.
That's a hard road to hoe.
Mm-hmm.
You know, from one of my grandmother's terms,
Yeah.
that because the haves want more.
Always did.
Yes, and always will. Until we start to believe that, you know, everyone is equal, we've got to respect humanity. We've got to change the heart and soul of our political process in order for more people to be able to achieve that dream. And the Constitution gives that to all of us as citizens.
It really does.
And you know, we've got a system that doesn't necessarily give everyone the same opportunity. So for me, being from Lewisville, being the mayor of Lewisville, fighting just to get Lewisville off of life support, to know that Arkansas could be so much better, so much better than we are if we start to look at each other as humans first, and we can agree to disagree, but we do it respectfully to the point where we can then, okay, we can work on what we share in common and improve the lives. What we have in different, we may not agree on, but we may be able to compromise. But if we're not talking to each other because we're so divided, and you got an R and I have a D, so I'm not talking to you, I don't want to hear anything you say, I have the power and I'm going to use it. That's where we are in this country, and we're divided, and we know a house divided against itself cannot stand.
I like that scripture.
I think,
like that.
well, I'm hopeful that people like yourself and Elmer and I think are in that category as well, are all willing to work hard together and remember the opening of the great Constitution of our country, which is the primary law of the land, the supreme law of the land, is the Constitution of the United States. I think all of us maybe agree here that it needs to be updated and improved. And it would be nice if our Supreme Court and the Senate and the Congress and the President would adhere to its outline. But we've always taken seriously all of our lives that we, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty for ourselves and our posterity, do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America. And we're very grateful that they gave us that, and they got us all for generation after generation to believe in these words, and we take them very seriously. And I think a lot of our constituents and most of the voters in Arkansas would agree with that. And so I hope they all get out and vote.
I trust they will, and especially the younger people who hopefully will be around longer than the rest of us, carrying on the benefits of the Constitution as they preserve it and work to have a continuous quality of life for themselves.
Well, Ethan, thank you so much for showing up today. We appreciate you coming on. We'd love to have you back again.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Good job on a conservative conversation, partner.
Let's continue.
Yeah.
Keep it
Conservative
going.
conversation. I like that. That's kind of a misnomer, you know, because
Well, I would argue that it is not. We are very much in favor of conserving the Constitution, the rule of law,
We have
civil
to protect
rights,
that.
women's rights, human rights, the environment,
I agree.
all of that. Well, thanks for watching, everybody.
Thank you very much. See you
Come
next
back and
time.
see us again and hit that subscribe button, please. We'd love to have some more viewers. Thank you.